Okay, we're back with another episode of High Rated Edison, and today we have Sensoro on 1003 rating versus Khalidov on 950 rating. So both players outside the top 100 and working their way up there, but still quite high rated. Opening hands are Hero Blast, Neos Alias ×2, Jar of Greed and Yata, and this side we have Trap Dust Shoot, Sangan, Level Eater, Debris, Cyber Valley and Torrential. So this kind of looks like the Riddle Sunshine 2025 Quickdraw deck. I'm getting that from like the Level Eater, the Cyber Valley, Debris obviously pretty standard in that deck. So let's see how this goes. They are going to get to go first, so they're going to set the Sangan, set the Dust Shoot and set the Torrential Pass over. They are going to Dust Shoot now and get a look at the hand. Going to get to put the Gauze back. Yes, they're well aware of what they're playing against now. This is like the Hero B deck, but the Jar of Greed is kind of telling me, the Jar of Greed and the Yata is kind of telling me that it might be the kind of like draw trap synchro build that I've seen kind of floating around. So Alias coming down now. That's going to get into the Sangan. Sangan's going to get to add Lone Fire. Lone Fire is huge here. Sets the Yata, sets the Jar, and passes. Draws into the Card Trooper as well. Wow. Sensoric getting all the big ones. So going to Lone Fire for Lone Fire, and then Titanial. Titanial going to try and get into the Alias. That's going to be successful. They're going to pass now. They draw into Rota. Going to Rota for the Stratos. Summon the Stratos. Add the Ocean. Yeah, gonna Yata now. Jar of Greed now. Yeah, yeah, may as well. So we're seeing them pick up Reckless and Yata again. So they really are committed to the draw trap kind of way of life. Sets the Yata as well. Passes, draws into MST now. MST is a bit tough because you've seen 2 draw traps already. You probably don't want to use it on anything that's face down. So they're probably going to try and have to hold it. Card Trooper coming down. It's going to mill Plasma. Oh, there's no way. Plasma, Heavy Storm, and Dandelion, which is going to put up tokens to protect the Titanial. This is nice. This is really nice, yeah. Yeah, I mean, they have the Hero Blast. Yeah. But it still feels good. So, battle phase now, they're going to Titanial over the Stratos. And then Card Trooper are going to try and get in. They're going to use the Hero Blast now to destroy the Card Trooper. That's going to draw into a Debris and get to add them back an Alias. They're going to set their MST now, and the Torrential still pass over. So sets just while we're here. MST and Torrential on this side, and Reckless and Yata on this side. So they might choose to pop these now. Yeah. So they're going to Yata into the Miracle Fusion, deciding whether or not they... Oh, it looks like they did the damage wrong a little bit. They fixed it. They're probably going to decide whether or not they Reckless on the back of that draw. They're choosing not to, so they're going to set the Ocean, set the Bombless. Pass, they're going to MST, hit the new set. Yeah, that's one way to use it on a face down. Hit it when it's a new set. So I think that's a really good play from Sensoro there. Draws into the Future Fusion now. Wow, okay. Debris Dragon coming down now. That's going to bring out Dandelion. Dandelion, Debris, and one of the tokens for a Stardust. Yeah, this is good. Yeah, that's going to give him 2 more tokens, still protecting that Titanium. So, Ocean going to get beat over by Stardust, and then they're going to try and do 2800 to the face. That's going to be successful. Yeah, there's probably a question. If they're playing Gauze, maybe like you're getting quite low on life. Maybe there is a call to Reckless Greed, but I think if you're surviving the turn, you're just going to want to draw 1 more. So upstart into upstart, into a Reckless Greed. I think you fire off the Reckless Greed now, no? Okay, Miracle Fusion, going for the Ab-Zero. Yeah, Ab-Zero going to try and crash with Stardust. That's going to be successful, and that's going to take out all the other monsters. Yeah, this Torrential, hard to, yeah. Hard time for Sensoro there. They're not going to be able to use the Torrential because that's going to do the same thing, and the Ab-Zero is just going to be able to take everything out. I think it's so wild that Ab-Zero was made with 2500 attack to like counter Stardust. It's so wild. Okay, they've set the other Reckless now, so 2 Reckless down here and a Torrential on this side. Draws into the upstart. Yeah, I was going to say they're probably not going to use the upstart, are they? because they're probably thinking they're close enough to game now. So Future Fusion going to show the Gaia, going to dump the Alias and the Dandelion for 2 tokens. Yeah, Debris coming out now, that's going to bring out the Dandelion. Going to use 8 levels for another Stardust, and that's going to give them 2 more tokens. And they're going to try and get in now for 25, that's going to be successful. Yeah, I think at this point, if you're playing Gauze, you would be Reckless Greeding and just trying, you know, both of them, just trying to see it to put up some kind of offense. Draws into Jar of Greed now, going to use the Reckless, draws Mirror Force Hero Blast, other Reckless, draws Honest and Gemini Lancer. So if you've never read this card before, it does have an actual effect, but really it's just a Gemini monster that's also a water. So in this build specifically, it's an 1800 beta, that is also potential like Ab-Zero fuel. But the actual effect, if you wanted to know, when it's normal summoned after it's been normal summoned, so when it's summoned for the second time as a Gemini monster during battle between this attacking card and a defense position monster whose defense is lower, it does piercing. But really, it's very rare that you ever actually, normal summon for a second time a Gemini monster in this deck. So Alias coming out now. That's going to get over one of the tokens. They're going to set all of their back row. So this is Hero Blast, Mirror Force, and Jar of Greed. Passing over, draws into Quickdraw. Wow, yeah, that's huge. Yeah, so Quickdraw is going to pitch the Level Eater. God, this one feels over. Level Eater going to lower the level of Stardust to summon itself out. He's going to go into a Junk Archer now. Junk Archer is going to remove, okay. Junk Archer is going to remove the Alias from play, and they're going to be able to get in for direct damage. So, yeah, really simple cleanup from Sensora there. What a good line to see as well, and it's cool to see Junk Archer in action. So, going into game number 2 now. Opening hands are Caius, Quickdraw, Level Eater, Card Trooper, and Stratos. Wow, what a hand! They've just got everything here. On this side, they've got Alias, Yata, Oppression, Bottomless Jar, and another Alias. So they'll be feeling pretty good with this as well. They're going to set the Oppression, Jar, and Yata, and they're going to summon out the Alias. There's just no way he's just drawn into Dandy as well, as if this hand didn't already do everything. This is insane. Yeah, I mean, it's going to get met by Oppression, which is good for Khalidov, because they were very quickly about to get steamrolled if this hand was allowed to go off. Card Trooper going to mill the Sangan, the Debris, and the Scapegoat. So it does look like they really are on like a card for card Real Sunshine copy if they're using the Scapegoat. Card Trooper going to get in now. That's going to crash and get them to draw one. Picks up the MST, chooses not to set it. Okay. Yeah, I guess they want to proc them into using a Royal Oppression again, and then probably hit it on the back with the MST on the crackback. Draws into Accumulated Fortune. Yeah, so this is kind of what I was trying to intimate earlier around what this deck is doing. So I've seen this deck, not from Khalidov, but I've seen this deck played elsewhere, and it is basically all of the traps, all of the draw traps, the Recklesses, the Jars, the Yatas, and it's the Accumulated Fortune. So if you've never read this card before, activate it only as a chain link 4 or higher, draw 2 cards. You cannot activate this card if there are multiple effects of the same name in the chain. So effectively what it is if your opponent goes like normal summon Stratos, for example, you can chain 2 of your draw traps, maybe. So in this case, a Jar and a Legacy, and then activate this as chain link 4, so you're picking up even more cards. And the Hero Beat deck is like, it's quite synonymous for using its back row. So this use of kind of like some fake back row mean that if you're drawing into like MST cards that you would typically want to see, Heavy Storm for example, you're kind of a bit less comfortable using it, just in case your opponent does something wild and draws like 6 cards off the back of it. so yeah, this deck is really cool with the Accumulated Fortune. I don't know if it's good enough to be sitting at the top tables, but I mean, yeah, Khalidov is playing it quite well right now. So Alias coming out now, that's going to get in for 19. They're going to set the Accumulated Fortune and pass, draws into another copy of Dandelion now. They're going to set one of them, set the MST, pass, draws into Bottomless on this side. Alias going to go over the Dandelion, that's going to make 2 tokens. They're going to set the 1 copy of Bottomless and pass, draws into a Bottomless on their side. Going to tribute 1 of the tokens for the Caius. Caius is going to try and banish the Alias. Do they pull the trigger now? Yes, they're going Bottomless, Trap Hole, Chain Link 2. Jar of Greed, Chain Link 3. Accumulated Fortune, Chain Link 4. So they're going to draw 2, draw 1, banish the Caius, and then banish the Alias. Yeah, and we're seeing why it's good. Sets the Bottomless and passes. Draws into another copy of Gemini Spark now. So Alias, that's going to get met with Bottomless. That's going to get met with Gemini Spark. Take out the other one. That's going to get met with MST activating. Targeting the set. Oh, Sensora, that feels wrong. That feels wrong, and I feel like you kind of know that. MST is going to target the set, which is a draw trap, which is really unfortunate. I think you 100% target the Royal Oppression that's face up. I know that face down could be a Royal Oppression as well, but it could equally be a draw trap. They didn't activate, so Kalidor's played this really well. They didn't activate that Yata last turn with the other draw traps resolving. Probably because they wanted to keep it on field in case they draw into another accumulated fortune and try and make the payoff for that a bit easier. But you are seeing now that that is probably a mistake to MST the set. So they're going to draw into the Rota, draw into the Jar, so 1 off Yata, 1 off Gemini Spark. And you're still under Royal Oppression. Going to set the Hero Blast, set the Jar of Greed now. Pass over, draws into the Plasma, a little late on the Plasma. Stratos coming down now, going to add their own Neos Alias. Going to try and get in for 18. That's going to get destroyed by Hero Blast, and Alias going to get added back to hand with a Hero Blast. This feels like a really good position for Kalidov right now. Draws into the Mask of Restrict, going to Rota for Stratos. Stratos for Ocean, yep. Yeah, I feel like once they side, they probably put in the Royal Oppressions if they don't already have them in, and then they probably take out the Miracle Fusions. But yeah, so I think Ocean is just there because they've already gone through all of their aliases. So Stratos going to get over the set. Draws into Heavy Storm. Wow, okay, maybe Sensora not feeling so bad about that MST play last turn. Now that they've got Heavy to use. So Heavy Storm going to go off. Jar Greed is going to go off. No, they do still play the Miracle Fusions on this side. So Kalidov is playing the Oppression and the Miracle Fusion. I guess the deck is only special summoning via Miracle Fusion, so there's probably not too much conflict there. You know, Miracle Fusion is probably a 3 of, Royal Oppression obviously limited to 2, so you know that you might not be seeing them so regularly together that it's become an issue before, but they definitely do conflict. Alias coming down now, that's going to get over the Stratos. I'm going to pass back just into equal. Yeah. Feels like Kalidov is quite far ahead. So seemingly no targets. Yes, no targets for equal. So Ocean coming out now. They're going to Miracle Fusion with the Ocean and the Stratos for the Ab-Zero. Ab-Zero is going to get over this Alias. They're going to set the Bottomless and pass. Draws into Call of the Haunted. Yeah, going to set the Call, set the Dandelion and pass. I think that's correct. Draws into another copy of Miracle Fusion. Yeah, they've not hit another water yet, but this Ab-Zero could be the other water they need. Alias coming down now, so yeah, Ab-Zero getting over the Dandelion, Alias getting over one of the tokens. Sets the Gemini Spark now and passes. Yeah, they are going to, yeah, Sensor is now going to Call the Haunted in end phase. So they're bringing out the Sangan. Yeah, this is clever, because if it's Gemini Spark, it's still going to go off. Titanial being drawn for turn now. Do you Titanial? Trying to think of what you do with your Sensor. So Titanial, normal summon, tribute both, like use Sangan effect. He's pretty good, right? No, okay. They're choosing to set the Level Eater and then go for the Plasma play. I think that's also a good line. So Sangan is going to be Chain Link 1, so they can't use priority. So they are going to get to Bottomless that. Yeah, I wonder... I wonder if the play was actually just Titanial Sangan Search, because the plasma there with the Sangan being part of the material was just going to lose to the sets. So debris getting added off the Sangan now, and passing over, draws into upstart, upstarts into gauze, yeah, nice. And they're going to go on the offensive now, so they're going 19 in and then 25. Puts their opponent down to 2100, so getting a little low on Sensoro's side now. Draws into a bottomless, so they are going to black crows here. Yeah, in them with the big think. Yeah, you're going to have to Gemini Spark this. And they do. Yeah, they pick up heavy, set the bottomless, and this one is just over, right? Draws into upstart. Heavy Storms, yeah, I think yeah, tough to say. I think Heavy Storm's a good play there, but I wonder if there was any kind of fear of Starlight Road. But Ab-Zero going to go in now, and that's going to be game 2. Okay, cool. We got a game on our hands. A very strong game on our hands. So going into game 3 now, opening hands are Upstart, Gemini Spark, Stratos, Lancer, and Bottomless. Mirror Force, Foolish, Plasma, Braincon, D-Prison, and Storm. Wow, this Storm is glued to the hand of Sensoro right now. Sets the D-Prison, passes, draws into the Accumulate Fortune, upstarts into Yata. Yeah, now we're getting somewhere. So, going to summon the Stratos, add the Alias. I think you said it all, right? Going to attack in, that's going to get out with the D-Prison. And they're just going to set the Bottomless. Okay, I'm not ready to commit, we get it. So Breaker coming down now, that's going to get hit with the Bottomless. They're going to pass. Draws into the E-Call now. So going to summon out the Alias, try and get in. That's successful. Main 2, yeah, going to set it all. Yes, this is kind of what I was talking about. So like, normal summon happens, you can go, you know, Gemini Spark, the normal summon, Yata Chain. So like normal summon effect, so like Stratos. Stratos comes down, effect, chaining 1. Gemini Spark chaining 2, Yata chaining 3, Accumulate Fortune chaining 4. You're drawing 4 cards, popping your opponent's monster. Just into Smashing Ground now. Okay, not looking good. They're going to try and Heavy Storm now. They're going to Yata, and they're going to Gemini Spark, and they're going to Accumulate Fortune. Yep, I think that's right. So, Heavy Storm kind of well played around. They did lose their monster, but that probably feels worth it for them. If they're you know, they were setting knowing they could have Heavy Storm, and they probably made their peace with it being Heavy Storm. Sets the Mirror Force now, passes over, draws into another copy of E-Call now. So E-Call's for the Ocean. Ocean comes out, sets the Mirror Force, the Yata, the jar. Passes, draws into Lone Fire on this side. Okay, Lone Fire is huge. So, yeah. I mean, it does lose, you know, Titanium is going to lose to Mirror Force, but this is still really good. So they're going to Smash and Ground the Ocean, and they're going to pass. Okay, they're just going to try and hold out, see what this stuff is. It's really tough to play into this. So Kalidor's doing a really good job of like setting the real back row amongst the kind of like fake back row. And it's been really effective at trying to, you know, stifle Sensoro in their ability to kind of push forward with some of this stuff. So it's really well played. Going to equal now for the last copy of Alias. Summon the Alias now. Attack. That's going to get met with Mirror Force. Now Mirror Force is going to feel good because any of these could be a Gemini Spark. But again, this whole like fake back row, real back row is really making Sensoro think about how they're interacting with this deck. Draws into Caius now. So, going to Foolish for the Dandelion, make a couple of tokens. Going to Lone Fire, yep, so Lone Fire out now for the Titanial. Titanial probably going to try and get in, and that's going to get met with Mirror Force more than likely. So, that's going now. They probably still feel pretty good because they do have Caius, and they've also got Brain Control Plasma next turn if they want to as well. If their opponent puts a monster on board. So, since we're not in a bad position here, it's just these 3 face downs, you know, they're not sure what they are. We are. It could be anything, and they're probably really throwing them off right now. So Jar, going to grab Miracle Fusion Lancer, going to go in now on one of the tokens. Use the upstart, add the bottomless. Sets the other bottomless. Sorry, sets the bottomless and passes. Yeah. Anything, you know what I mean? Anything 3 and above back row could be, you know, it could be accumulated fortune. So it's really tough to, yeah, it's really tough to play around this kind of stuff. So Zora draws into Dandelion now. They're going to tribute for Caius. Caius is going to try and banish the Lancia. That's going to be successful, but get bottomless. And they're going to pass back. Draws into Hero Blast now. So probably going to start with, yeah, okay, I was going to say Neos Alias, but this is good too. Miracle Fusion for the Ab-Zero. Alias coming down now. And they're going to get in for some damage. So 19 and 25. Main 2, they're going to set the Hero Blast. Again, this is kind of what I mean. Like, if you're looking down 3, like, you just know, I'm going to stop going on about this, but like, it could be 2 draw traps and an accumulated fortune, or it could be TT, Mirror Force, Solemn. Like, or unless they've used Mirror Force, it could be TT, Solemn, something else crazy, Gemini Spark. Do you know what I mean? There's really just no way to know this. And what Kalidov's really good at doing as well is holding these and not using them until they have to. Whereas like a lot of people, when they play draw traps, they'll just set it, and then if it survives till next turn, they'll just use it, which is the wrong way to do it in my opinion. Okay, so set Dandelion, set trap stun, and pass. The trap stun could be huge here. If they, if this was a way to accumulate fortune, you would try and kind of bait your opponent so they go, 1, 2, 3 up to accumulate fortune. Then you hit them with the trap stun and end the whole chain. But let's see how this trap stun works for them. So they're going to Jar Greed. Yeah, obviously not going to trap stun that. It's just a one-off. Yeah, Ab-Zero getting over the Dandelion. Alias getting over one of the tokens, and then going to set the oppression, set the jar, and pass. Just into the smashing ground now. That'd be tough not to use, but they are going to brain control. Take the alias, smashing ground, the Ab-Zero, destroy everyone's monsters, and pass it over. Yeah, so drawing into Mask of Restrict, and then another Mask of Restrict with Jar of Greed, and then a Torrential with the Yata, then Hero Blast in. That's going to get met with a trap stun, because that was about to add them back an alias, which would have been huge here. Sets the Torrential, sets the mask, and passes. Yeah, they're even kind of holding one back to say, okay, these could be, this could be Yata Jar accumulated. You're gonna have to find out. Draws into the bottomless, sets the bottomless, draws into the Gemini Spark, passes. Solemn now, sets and passes. Gemini Spark passes. Card Trooper now. Yeah, Card Trooper's a good card to pick up here. Gonna mill 2 quick draws on a Caius, which should be unfortunate. Gonna try and get in. That's gonna be successful, so they're getting in for 19, draws into Honest. Okay, sets the Honest now, that's a nice interaction. Picks up the Sangan on this side. Gonna Card Trooper mill, that's gonna mill 2 Debris and a Stratos. Funny, the pattern repeating, but with different cards. Summons a Sangan now. Card Trooper going to try and get over the Honest and get met with a wall, and they're going to pass. Draws into another copy of Oppression now. Okay, Honest going to bounce itself back to hand. They're going to set a mystery card, which is the Honest. Draws into the Dust Tornado now. Going to set these both to defense. Set the Dust Tornado and pass. Yeah, I mean, both dandies are engraved, so what are you really trying to mill in this deck? I wonder. Draws into the Legacy now. Yeah, that Legacy's going to go straight down. They're going to pass. Draws into an Alias now. They're going to pass. Draws into Upstart. Yata's into Accumulated Fortune. Oh, this is just getting out of hand. Sets the Accumulated Fortune. Dust Tornado hits the Accumulated Fortune. That was nice. Yeah, that was a really nice snipe from Sensora there. Bottomless Trap holds the draw for the turn. Sets that. Passes. Draws into MST on this side now. Yeah. That's a really tough one to try and use. They are just going to set it though. Debris Dragon coming out from the deck now. That's going to get summoned. Bring back the Dandelion. Yeah, going to get met with an Oppression, unfortunately. But, it's forcing out that, like, now you know where stuff is. And actually, we've seen them go through an Ab-Zero already, but they've got 2 more in deck. So actually, the Royal Oppression might be helping you. Maybe. Hard to know. So picks up the Rotor of a turn now, going to pass, picks up Level Eater. These guys are getting low on their deck count as well, I'm just realising. Sets the Level Eater now and passes. Draws into the Hero Blast. Flips the Honest. Honest is going to go after the new set, which is the Level Eater. That's going to be successful. They're going to set the Hero Blast and pass. Yeah, having to set the hand size there, and I guess Hero Blast is the right one. So let's go over the back row just while we're here. It's Bottomless, Bottomless, and Solemn on this side. Royal Oppression, which is face up. Mask of Restrict, Torrential, MST, and Hero Blast on this side. So they've probably made their way through most of their draw traps. So they've got 1, 2 Accumulated Fortunes, 3 Yartas, and 3 Greeds down. So they've probably only got 1 Accumulated Fortune left if they're playing it. And we also see the Gemini Sparks, which also draw. So they're out there. They've seen everything so far. Everything but maybe 1 Accumulated Fortune. So the Alias coming down now. Hero Blast going to add the Alias back to hand and destroy the Alias. And it's going to set the trap stun now and pass. MST is going to take out the trap stun, which probably feels pretty good if you're Khalidov. He's going to start with the Alias. That's going to get met with the Bottomless. That's going to get met with the Gemini Spark, taking out the other Bottomless. Yeah, a bit unfortunate. Honest going to go in now, and that's going to pick up a Scapegoat. These both lose to Oppression, and your opponent's got a lot of life points to sacrifice still. Okay. God, it's a long match as well. Process the Heavy and passes. Heavy set for hand size, draws into TT, sets the TT, sets the Scapegoat, passes, draws into Miracle Fusion. Yeah, they're going to Heavy Storm now. This is interesting. Okay, they're going to Solemn it, but this is very interesting because if they're Heavy Storming, if you're Sensoro, you're expecting, you know, draw trap. Although, you know, we can see they're actually in grave. If they're Heavy Storming, you might be expecting. Oh, what are you expecting? You're expecting something down here, but they are trying to get rid of their Royal Oppression so they can win this turn, and that's why I think you've got to Solemn this if you're Sensoro. You kind of, as much as you're losing to this Royal Oppression, your opponent is also losing to this Royal Oppression, and if you can survive 2 turns, you can win by deck out. So I think you do have to Solemn here, but it's not going to feel good. I'm going to summon the Honest now. Oh, I think you got to Torrential that. Oh, I think you had to Torrential that. Okay, sets the Upstart. Passes. Draws into the Avarice. Holy. Okay, this Avarice is going to go off. So just do the sets one more time. So this is Royal Oppression, Mask, Torrential, Upstart. This is Scapegoat and Torrential. But the Avarice is going to resolve. That's going to add Debris, 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 Dandelion. Dandelion. Yeah, I was going to say, I think it has to be the Dandelions. And I would have probably also gone with a Stratos and an Alias over the Debris, because I guess the Debris are big defense though. Yeah, I think that's probably why they've done it. Yeah, you just got to survive 1 turn, and they've drawn the Debris. Okay, let's go. Set the Debris, set the Deprison Pass. Draws into a Mask of Restrict now. Honest bounce back. Honest bounce back. Honest. Torrential. Yep. Oh, they don't have enough life points. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. They were so close. They've got the Torrential though. Torrential. It's so fun. Oh my god, this is one of the best games I've ever seen. Wow. Yeah. Holy, both players saying GG. It was GG's. This was an awesome match to watch. So Torrential comes down, destroys the Ab-Zero. They've got no players left. They've got all this stuff they've got in hand, but nothing in deck. So they're going to pass it over. And Sensor is just going to draw, pick up whatever it is, and pass it right back for deck out game. Wow, what a cool game. I'm so hyped for this. Okay, so what do I have to say about this game apart from how cool that ending was? The Riddle Sunshine kind of new Quickdraw deck is very good. It's very, very strong. I don't know if this is exactly what Sensora is playing. I don't know if they've net decked it, if they've just taken that list and they're running with it, because it seems like they might have made a couple of their own modifications. Mostly being that we're not seeing a lot of Cyber Valley, and there's a couple of things that are different between the lists. Really cool, played really well. There's a couple of decision points there that I think were really questionable, but they clearly were right in the long run, which Sensora was seeing at that point. They made some really good calls. They sniped a couple of really good cards with the MST throughout this match, which is nice. And really, I think they played it to a high level, a really high level, well worthy of their rating. Khalidov, again, I think Khalidov played really well. I think there's probably a couple of questionable decisions that I haven't seen because I'm not as au fait with the kind of like hero beat strategy that we're seeing in front of us, especially not this kind of draw trap one. I don't think this has existed that long, but it's a really good match to watch, and they've piloted the deck really well. I think they are kind of lacking a few Geminis maybe. I know they play Lancer as well, but it feels like, well, we're seeing the whole deck here actually for game 3, so probably with some sidecars, but obviously most of the deck, it just doesn't look like it has a lot of monsters. That's my only feedback. There's kind of like your aliases, your one Ocean, your one Lancer, your Stratos, your Honest, and then that's it. That's all they're playing. And it feels like because of that they weren't able to have Gemini Spark on as often as they wanted to. But either way, I think they played excellently. Again, well worthy of their rating. And what a hype match to watch as game 3 as they kind of try to run down the deck. Khalidov trying to win by any means they can before they deck out, and Sensora just trying to survive for the win. So yeah, really cool. I think both players played excellently. This deck is cool. I don't know if it's good. It certainly looked good at points throughout this match with the kind of Jar of Greeds, the Yata and the Accumulated Fortune going off, but it didn't feel at the start, I didn't feel like it was strong enough to kind of contest this match, but it did that really well. So yeah, I'll stop rambling about this one. What a great match to watch. One of my favourites so far.